do you think we need a public institution or say a department to look after non-Muslim affairs? I mean, we've got Jakim, we've got the religious department. Do we need a body to look after the other side in government?
Well, one of the things that's being raised as a possibility, and the Ministry of National Unity is working on, is a National Harmony Act, which we're asking to see the draft of this, which hopefully will look into how to solve, all these many issues. But of course we know that we can have things on paper. Like, there's no political will to push them through. That's a different issue altogether, right? But in terms of a religious department or ministry, I mean, well, my personal opinion is that if you have a Ministry of Religion, and it's only just called Ministry of Religion, then it should encompass all religions and not just one, so... but I don't know. I think Zainah and I are probably in the same opinion that we just should keep religion out of public policy. It's a private thing for most people.
That doesn't seem to be the case here in this country.
No.
There's a difference between being a secular state and a secularist state, which people don't seem to understand.
People are really allergic to the word secular,
Yeah.
because they seem to assume that if you have a secular state, it means there is no religion at all in it, which is ridiculous actually, because it's just a form of governing that actually leaves room for everyone to participate, because once you have a religious-based system of governing, then it naturally sides with one religion, right? And there are no seemingly secular states that are completely devoid of religion. You look at the U.S. Constitution, you look at the UK and all that. There is religion in there. There is the Queen is the head of the Church of England, that sort of thing. I mean, it's still there. It's just that the way of conducting public policy and law and all that, does not side with one or one religion or other. Yeah, it's neutral is always but it caters for everyone. Yeah.
And I think what's dangerous is that even when you use religion as a source of law and public policy, it's like only one interpretation, only one understanding. And the sad thing is that it's the most unjust, discriminatory understanding of the religion that becomes a source of law and public policy. And that is what is the most scary and disturbing part. I was at a meeting yesterday on the whole issue of child marriage with the UN. All the arguments to setting a minimum age of marriage are there in Islam. All the arguments, in terms of defending the rights of the child, in terms of right to education, right to health, right to a standard of living, are all there to justify why child marriage should be banned. So in the end, it's really not about religion. It's really about the political will, as Marina mentioned, the political will of the political leadership to do what is right for this country and for the citizens, for the children of the country. Even on the issue of freedom of religion. There are 20 verses in the Quran that talk about freedom of religion. The Quran doesn't provide a punishment for those who live Islam. It's a sin, yes, but it's a sin between you and God decides. It's not for the state. It doesn't prescribe any form of punishment in the Quran. So the arguments are there. But why isn't there the political will and the political courage to make the right decision that is in line with the constitution of the country, which recognizes freedom of religion, that's in line with the human rights instruments that we have signed and ratified, that's in line, with what is just, So I think the problem really that we have today is political will and political courage to do what is right and what is just.
It's like, I always wonder why the authorities of the government is so protective of Islam and all that. Is it something to do with the fact that in the Constitution, a Malay is defined very clearly, or rather the Constitution defines very clearly what a Malay is, which is that the person must practice, speak Malay, practice the Malay custom, and be Muslim. Professes Islam as his religion. So is there anything to do with why there's so much worry about people leaving the religion?
You know, it's really not about protective over Islam, protective over a particular interpretation of Islam that fits into, the authorities' role. They believe that they need to control. The government needs to control everything. So this particular interpretation of Islam, which is a very oppressive, discriminatory, misogynistic interpretation of Islam, fits into how the government sees itself and how the religious authorities sees itself as, needing to control the citizens to subscribe to its way of thinking. So it's really that, because there are so many wonderful alternative interpretations to the religion that upholds fundamental liberties, So if it's really just about Islam, then, and if you're truly a religious scholar, there's this interpretation, there's that interpretation. Which interpretation do you choose that serves the best interest of society? Which again is a principle in Islamic jurisprudence, maslahah, best interest of society. Why can't you choose the good one that serves the best interest of society? So what is it then,
Can I ask you, what keeps you awake, Marina?
I mean, really the future of this country, and what sort of country are we leaving to our children and our grandchildren? We'd love our children and grandchildren to continue living here, as we did. It's a nice place to be, but we also want the best for our children. We want them to have all the best opportunities that they can have, and that is rooted in the type of education they're going to get, and the type of environment that they are going to be in.
I think what you mentioned, education, I think even when your children or your older daughter was at school, there were issues, they worry about where the education system is going. So is that where we need to fix as well?
I think every single person, if you go, the 18 dialogues, and tomorrow will be 18th, and it won't be any different, I'm sure. Every single person who has come has mentioned education. Everybody knows that's where it starts. And that's where, if you want to have change, that's where you have to start. I was not involved in all the dialogues on the education blueprint, but I'm sure it all came out there, that education is very key to unity. And it's not simplistic, I think. A lot of people are offering this very simplistic solution where have everyone in one school and then you will have unity, just like we all used to have. But the quality of the education is very important. I'm so amazed that so many people talk, everybody must go to the same school, but they're not talking about the quality of education. Parents want the best education for their kids. What is the point of all being in the same school if it's a crappy education?